Julian Assange is a name synonymous with transparency and whistleblowing. As the founder of WikiLeaks, he has played a pivotal role in exposing government secrets and corporate wrongdoing. His actions have sparked global debates about freedom of information and government accountability. Assange's commitment to transparency has made him both celebrated and controversial. Supporters hail him as a champion of free speech and a crusader against corruption. Critics argue that his methods are reckless and endanger national security. Regardless of one's stance, Assange has left an indelible mark on the world. WikiLeaks has become synonymous with the exposure of classified information. Julian Assange's fascination with technology was evident from a young age. Born in Townsville, Australia in 1971, he spent his formative years moving frequently across the country. This nomadic lifestyle fostered a sense of independence. Assange's aptitude for computers quickly became apparent. As a teenager, he discovered the world of hacking using the pseudonym Mendax. He gained notoriety for his skills breaking into the computer systems of organizations like NASA and the Pentagon. While some viewed his actions as criminal, Assange saw them as activism. He believed in the free flow of information and challenged institutions that operated in secrecy. This early experience with hacking laid the foundation for his later work with WikiLeaks. Assange's belief in transparency extended beyond the digital realm. In 2006, Julian Assange founded WikiLeaks, a website for whistleblowers to anonymously leak classified information. Assange envisioned a world where governments and corporations could be held accountable. WikiLeaks quickly gained notoriety for publishing sensitive documents without revealing its sources. The organization's use of encryption and anonymity tools made it difficult to track down leakers. Assange believed transparency was essential for a functioning democracy. This belief, coupled with his technical expertise, made WikiLeaks a powerful force for accountability. WikiLeaks aimed to shine a light on corruption and human rights abuses. WikiLeaks' impact on global affairs has been undeniable, reshaping the landscape of journalism and transparency. The organization has published millions of documents, exposing government secrets and corporate misconduct, often revealing information that was previously hidden from the public eye. These leaks have had far-reaching consequences, sparking public outrage and triggering international investigations, as well as debates about the ethics of whistleblowing. One significant leak was the release of the collateral murder video in 2010 showing a US helicopter gunship attack in Baghdad, which shocked the world. It exposed the brutal reality of war and raised serious questions about the conduct of the US military, leading to widespread condemnation and calls for accountability. Another major leak was the publication of the Cablegate files in 2010, revealing candid assessments of foreign leaders and US diplomatic efforts which were never meant for public consumption. The release of these cables caused significant embarrassment for the US government, straining diplomatic relations and leading to a re-evaluation of security protocols. WikiLeaks publications have also shed light on corruption and human rights abuses in various countries, empowering activists and citizens to demand change. In 2010, the organization released documents detailing corruption within the Tunisian government, contributing to the Tunisian revolution, which was a pivotal moment in the Arab Spring. Julian Assange's pursuit of transparency has come at a significant personal cost. His actions have made him a target of governments and powerful institutions. He has faced numerous legal challenges and accusations of espionage. In 2010, Swedish authorities issued an arrest warrant for Assange in connection with sexual assault allegations. Assange denied the allegations, claiming they were politically motivated. He sought refuge in the Ecuadorian embassy in London, where he remained for nearly 7 years. During his time in the embassy, Assange continued to work with WikiLeaks. However, his confinement took a toll on his physical and mental health. The US government has been highly critical of Assange and WikiLeaks. The Trump administration indicted Assange on 17 counts of espionage and 1 count of conspiracy to commit computer intrusion. In 2012, facing extradition to Sweden, Julian Assange sought refuge in the Ecuadorian embassy in London. Ecuador granted him asylum, citing concerns about a fair trial in Sweden and potential extradition to the US. Assange's stay in the embassy was marked by legal battles and increasing isolation. Confined to a small room, his health deteriorated. Despite these challenges, he continued to work with WikiLeaks. The Ecuadorian government's decision to grant Assange asylum strained relations with the UK. British authorities maintained a constant police presence outside the embassy. The standoff lasted for nearly 7 years, becoming the longest diplomatic standoff in recent history. Assange's situation sparked international debate about the rights of asylum seekers and the balance between freedom of speech and national security. In 2019, after a significant change in government in Ecuador, Assange's asylum was abruptly revoked, ending his 7-year stay in the Ecuadorian embassy in London. He was promptly arrested by British police inside the Ecuadorian embassy and charged with skipping bail, a charge stemming from his earlier legal battles. The Swedish case, which had been a significant part of his legal troubles, was subsequently dropped due to the statute of limitations expiring. However, Assange's legal troubles were far from over, as new and more serious charges awaited him. The US government unsealed a comprehensive indictment, charging him with 17 counts of violating the Espionage Act and 1 count of conspiracy to commit computer intrusion. These charges stemmed from WikiLeaks' publication of a vast trove of classified documents that had been leaked by Chelsea Manning, a former US Army intelligence analyst. The US government accused Assange of conspiring with Manning to hack into government computers, a serious allegation that added to his legal woes. Assange's legal team argued fervently that he was protected by the First Amendment, asserting that his actions were no different from those of other investigative journalists who published sensitive information. They maintained that he had never actively solicited or hacked for classified information, but had merely received and published it as any journalist might do in the course of their work. Julian Assange's case has ignited a global debate about transparency, national security, and the future of investigative journalism. His supporters view him as a fearless champion of free speech and a crusader against government corruption. They argue that his prosecution sets a dangerous precedent for journalists and whistleblowers. Critics argue that Assange's actions went beyond traditional journalism and endangered lives. The case has raised questions about the extraterritorial reach of US law. The UK's decision to extradite Assange to the US has been met with criticism from human rights groups. Assange's legacy remains complex and contested. His actions have sparked important conversations about government transparency and the limits of press freedom. Julian Assange's case highlights the ongoing and intense tension between transparency and national security, a debate that has only grown more complex in the digital age. Governments argue that they have a duty to protect sensitive information to safeguard national security, ensuring the safety of their citizens and the integrity of their operations. They claim that unauthorized disclosure of classified information can compromise intelligence sources and methods, potentially putting lives at risk and undermining national defense strategies. On the other hand, transparency advocates argue that the public has a fundamental right to know what their governments are doing, especially when it comes to actions taken in their name. They argue that government secrecy can be a breeding ground for corruption and abuse of power, leading to decisions that may not reflect the public's best interests. The debate centers around whether the public interest in knowing certain information outweighs the potential harm that could result from its disclosure. This is a complex question with no easy answers, as both sides present compelling arguments and significant stakes. Assange's supporters argue that his publications have exposed wrongdoing and sparked important public debates, shedding light on issues that would otherwise remain hidden. They maintain that the benefits of transparency, such as accountability and informed citizenry, outweigh any potential harm that might come from the release of sensitive information. The ethical dilemma of transparency versus national security remains unresolved, a contentious issue that continues to evolve as new challenges and technologies emerge. As of November 2024, Julian Assange remains imprisoned in Belmarsh Prison in London, fighting extradition to the US. He has been denied bail multiple times, with judges citing concerns that he is a flight risk. His physical and mental health have reportedly deteriorated significantly. Assange's legal team continues to fight his extradition, arguing that the charges against him are politically motivated. They have appealed his case to the European Court of Human Rights. His case has garnered international attention, with human rights groups calling for his release. They argue that his prosecution sets a dangerous precedent for journalists and whistleblowers. The outcome of Assange's case will have far-reaching implications for press freedom and government transparency. The world is watching closely as the fate of Julian Assange hangs in the balance.